Hi, I'm Bobby Bruce from West Hampton, New Jersey, and I won the 50 Days of Metallica contest from 94 WYSP. Right now, I'm about to interview Lars Ulrich of Metallica.
Lars, how are you? How you doing? All right? All right. Chat. Nice to see you. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you.
I love Metallica, first and foremost.
Thank you.
They're my favorite band,
It's nice to
so
hear.
this is an amazing opportunity to finally meet you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, what made you start once to playing the drums? Start to play the drums?
Um, that's a good question. um, actually, what happened was I was just such a huge fan of metal, and I just wanted. I spent a lot of time air drumming and sitting around drumming along to records, and me and my friend had a couple of bands that were like, I'd get like cardboard boxes and sit and beat on the cardboard boxes with like paint stirrers. My friends would play guitar on tennis rackets, and we had a foosball table that was the keyboards, and a broom shaft for lead vocals, and we would literally sit there and spend hours like, miming along to Deep Purple records and so on. And after a while, it was like, maybe I should get a real drum kit. So I got a real drum kit, and then I wanted to play my favorite songs with other people. I never thought of writing songs or, any of that type of stuff. I just wanted to mime along and play cover songs and that type of stuff. And then I met this James Hetfield guy, and then a few things happened, and here we are in the Flyers dressing room a couple years later.
When and how did you first start getting gigs?
Well, the first gig we ever got was we got Dave Mustaine in the band, and that was sort of the first stable lineup. It was me and James and Ron and Dave Mustaine, and Dave Mustaine had a lot of connections. He'd been playing gigs before with his band called Panic, and he was a little bit more kind of on the scene and kind of knew people and stuff. I mean, the rest of us were totally dorky, loser, guys. But Mustaine kind of had it together, and he booked us a show at a place called Radio City in Orange County, south of LA. It was in March of 1982, and we played on a Sunday night. It was just us because there was nobody else that played with us or whatever. So it was like, I think there was like, I don't know, 50, 100 people there. They were pretty much all Dave Mustaine's friends.
Yeah.
And that was the first gig.
Oh, in your opinion, what is the hardest Metallica song to play?
I don't know why, but on the drive down here, I drove down from New York for about 2 hours. I don't know why, but I listened to Saint Anger on my iPod, and I was kind of air drumming along to a couple of the songs from Saint Anger, and I had no idea what I was doing. It was, a complete farce. Some of that stuff was pretty nutty. It was also because a lot of it was put together in the computer. A lot of it wasn't real natural to play. It was a little more forced for us to play. I think nowadays we probably, a song like Dyer's Eve, you got to be kind of on your game. A song like Damage Incorporated. You can't just sit there and gaze at the lighting rig or blink at the few pretty girls. It's so some of that stuff. Obviously, you got to be a little more kind of like on top of. But generally, we're all in pretty good sort of fighting spirit these days, and we're all in pretty good shape, and we're certainly playing a lot better on this tour in the last couple of years than we were on some earlier tours, I think in the 90s and earlier. So it's so far it's it's okay. And since I write the set list, I don't really put the really difficult songs in.
What is your favorite Metallica album or song?
I can't answer that. I can tell you that there are songs that are more fun to play than others. Like we played Sanitarium about 2-3 shows ago, which is one we don't play a lot, but we play it sometimes, and it's super fun. It's a great fun song. There's a lot of, the stuff that's really fun is like the songs that you can kind of change up, like Sad But True. I never played the same twice. I always played differently.
Yeah.
Sanitarium I played differently, but other songs, you kind of end up playing the same way every night, and it's not that it's just a different kind of thing.
And where did the theme for Death Magnetic come from?
The Twisted Mind of James Hetfield. I haven't asked. He went off into lyric purgatory somewhere for a few months. Obviously, it comes from deep inside him, from some, you know, hidden dark corners inside James Hetfield. I wouldn't want to know. It's like, this is like, you know, the sweetest, most like normal dude that you see around, and
Yeah.
he still has all that stored up in him.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't wish that upon anybody. So obviously it was sort of like when you realized that all these songs had a kind of a common thread of you know, redemption and forgiveness and all this, you know, death and suicide and all this stuff. Obviously, Kirk Hammett was the one that suggested Death Magnetic as the title, and we all sort of went with that pretty quickly. It sounded pretty abstract and pretty cool, so we kind of liked it.
Obviously, the loss of Cliff Burton
Yes.
had a deep impact on the band.
Of course.
What do you think Metallica would be like today if Cliff Burton was still here?
It's one of the hard ones I get asked. Obviously, I'm not great with the what if questions.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it would be radically different. I think that if anything Cliff brought to this band was the spirit of individuality and the spirit of trying to remain unique and kind of true to yourself and true to what you kind of have inside you, instead of kind of following what everybody else. I mean, Cliff was the #1 champion of individuality and that type of thing. And so, plus he was so musically all over the place. I mean, he was the one that turned me and James onto a vast variety of real diverse stuff. You know, like everything from Simon and Garfunkel to the Misfits to the ZZ Tops of the world to Lynyrd Skynyrd to, I mean, so much different stuff. So I think that the journey for the last 23 years would have still been a very diverse one, and one that would have been sort of all over the place, like I'm proud to say our journey's been, and I think he would definitely be the first guy to champion that.
Mm-hmm. After Dave Mustaine's removal from the band, how has the relationship been with Dave Mustaine and Megadeth today?
Up and down. It's always been up and down. I think that, listen, I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for Dave, and I've always liked him. He's, you know, had some up and downs. You know, we've always respected his band. We've always respected, I've always respected him as a musician. I think he's had some great players with him. He's a great songwriter. There's been obviously some posturing and some talking from both sides over the years. To me, it's more like sort of a kindergarten sandbox type of stuff. But I got nothing but respect for him and appreciation for his time in Metallica. He got a little upset a few years back over his inclusion in some kind of monster movie, and I haven't had any contact with him since.
Mm-hmm. Why did the band switch from producer Bob Rock, longtime producer Bob Rock, to now Rick Rubin for this new album?
We needed some change. It was that simple. We've been making records more or less the same way with Bob since the early '90s, and we just needed a different way to do it.
All right, well, thank you so much for this interview. This has been an amazing opportunity.
Good talking to you.
Good
Enjoyed
talking
it.
to you.
All right then.
I feel amazing. That was really cool guy. Thank you to 94 WISP.
I don't listen a lot to the radio, other than, of course, when I'm in Philly, when I listen to YSP from the minute I come here till the minute I leave.